There you go. Today's topic, guys, is like, how do we define traditional manhood beyond the traditional successes, right? If you look at what's been going on in the world and how things have been shifting, are you tired of the outdated definition of what it means to be a real man? Or do you feel boxed in by expectations of traditional successes? And even some of the stoic invulnerability. In fact, I got a stoic channel that didn't do so well, but this video is going to challenge those old notions. Da. While I get us all set up technically, you know what to do. And by the way, my name is Gordon Wat from Boundaries and Brotherhood. If you're looking for ways to get out of that emotional rut, or you finding out a way that you're stuck running a company, running the sales team, doing everything else, but you don't have a relationship with your wife, your home, or anybody else, this is going to be the channel for you. Da, take it away while I get us all set up technically.
Okay. I know for us as men, especially nowadays, there's a lot of struggle when it comes to identifying what success actually is and what it means. A long time ago, success meant money. I can provide for my family. I can have the 401k. I can buy the car. I can do all these things. But even after doing all that, right, as time has gone on, that has shifted drastically, right? Society has shifted. Your wife is probably making as much as you are, if not more than what you're making. She might be more educated than you. And so then it almost feels like, man, because I can't provide, because that was a measure of success before, being able to provide,
Right.
I don't feel like I'm much of a man anymore. And so it leaves you feeling, especially when you already don't open up. So now it leaves you feeling empty. It leaves you feeling like you don't have a purpose anymore. It leaves you feeling like you're not good enough, because that's how we measured success. We tied it so heavily up into being able to provide material things, that when we can't do that anymore, or we can't do it to the level as our wives can or other men can, right? Because then we get online and we watch everyone else. Look at the 18,000 rental properties I got, and I can teach you how to do it too, and all these things like that. But you feel less than. You don't feel successful. You feel like you don't have a purpose, because we've tied success heavily into, I know there's other aspects as well. We've tied success so heavily into being a provider. I actually saw a link the other day where it was talking about, it was about black men, but it was like how a lot of black men will say, when they feel happiest is when they're providing. And the reason why that is because, like, I have worth and value now. But now what happens when it gets taken away, right? The definition of success gets taken away. So we're not just taking away your ability to provide, but we're also taking away your identity. And so, of course, it's going to leave you feeling less than. It's going to leave you feeling, alone, or it's going to leave you feeling hurt or sad or depressed, or you name any other emotion in it. It's going to leave you feel shameful, guilty, not man enough. You couple that with societal pressures. You couple that with, if you have a woman who's on those same societal pressures, she's putting that on you as well. There's not a lot of room for us. There's not a lot of space. And so it's like and then we're left like, well, what do I do now? What do I do now in this new world where, my ability to provide has been either taken away or massively reduced, or it's not that important anymore because she can provide everything herself? What do you do then? And that's what we're going to be talking about today, redefining success, because our old definitions don't work anymore.
Absolutely.
And also, this is not, let me also preface, this is not talking about getting into this soft guy era either. Let me also put
No,
that out.
and
It's not that,
no,
right?
wait, purple background, not the lavender.
Oh, no, that's different. That's completely different. But I'm
Yeah.
talking about, like, there's a lot of guys like, I want the princess treatment and things like that. I'm like, that's not what this is about. If you're looking for that, I mean, still stay tuned. Don't leave.
Well, this is why I have, honestly, this is why I have Carrie that comes in on every Tuesday, because she talks from a feminist point of view and a person that has changed. She
Yeah.
knows how to respect a man. She knows how to relationship because she's a coach, a professional coach that's been through the ringer and found the errors in her way. It's same like us right here. How we find, unpacking the provider myth. Because, like, you could be running the sales team, making $1 million, but you feel like shit at home. You could be finding purpose at your job place, but you can't even have a conversation, a hard conversation with your wife because you think of this old myths, right?
Yeah. And actually, in touching on that, right, there's a lot of guys who they're so locked in on this provider myth that, when they do get home and the wife is complaining because they're not spending time together, she's complaining because she doesn't feel loved, doesn't feel seen or heard. And the kids, they're not connected with you because you're never there. And then what we do with the provider myth is like, well, I make all this money. You know,
And
you
when
guys
somebody
don't see the
tells me
life
that,
that I've given to you and all this, and you guys are ungrateful and this and that and that. It's like, no, they're not ungrateful. You just don't understand that that's not the only measure of success.
true,
There are
I'm living
many
proof of
other
it.
measures of success. Unfortunately, we've been told that if you're doing that, then everyone should love you for it, and you should get all the sex in the world, and your kids should worship you, and everything like that. And then when you go into expectation that that's what it is, and that's not what it is, then you're left empty. Like, what do I do now? My entire life, everyone told me I got to provide, and I'm doing that, and it's not enough. So this is the other side of it, right? So before we were talking about those who maybe couldn't provide. Now we're talking about those who do provide. And so now you're definitely feeling empty. You feel like you've been sold a lie. You make millions of dollars a year, but you're on the verge of divorce. You know, you can go and save everybody else's marriage, go and save everybody else's family, go and save everyone else's company, but your whole life is burning down behind the scenes and you're confused. It's like, why is this not working? Of course, you feel empty. Of course, you feel like just giving up. If you're feeling any of these things, this is the topic we're going to be going over today. So definitely stick around because we're going to go into a lot more depth.
Yeah, please go, because even for myself, the traditional, because that's what you've been taught. You mean that even for me at my age, 57, close to 60, you've been taught a certain thing to provide, protect, all that stuff. Even I would say that you see online, but you can also provide in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be transactional. It doesn't even be monetary. When somebody says, I bring home all the money, this and that, I'm like, but that's not impressive because my kids want the attention that money cannot buy, right? My wife wants to be communicated with, talked to, and heard in a way that she, like you, we just talked about this the other day. It is like, in about a year and a half, she'd be topped out in the airlines. That's damn good money, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, she's able to provide. It's a little sacrifice now, but it's like, at any given moment, my 3-year-old is going to be like, he don't want to play with dad no more. I'm not missing all of this. But if somebody tries to come through my door, you're going to see me put my life down for them and my wife, because that's what I'm supposed to do, right? I see a lot of different things where people say, like, when women say they don't need no man, these women are misguided and not a lot of stuff. But redefining the myth of what a man's supposed to be in today's day and era, it's got to be a lot of different things. What are you seeing and how are you changing some of your clients?
Well, really helping them to understand that success is more than just how much money you make, right? You know, that's not success. I mean, it's no, let me rephrase that. That is a version of success, right? Like,
Okay,
listen,
so
if you're making good money, that's great, honestly, because let's not pretend that money can't solve a lot of problems. Let's not pretend that having a full bank account and a full emergency fund and stocks and all that stuff and rental and consistent cash flow coming in. I'm not going to sit here and pretend and be like, oh, that doesn't mean anything. No, it definitely means something. So I don't want to take that away from any of you, because some of you have like, but you know, I've given my whole life and you're saying this is useless. It's nothing. It's worthless. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it's not the only thing. But when you're thinking, when we've been programmed to think that's the only thing, then that's why, unfortunately, so many men have been hustled in the last few years with the whole red pill movement, because it's like, we're going to teach you how to be a real man, how to do this and do that and do this. And then you go out and do it. And let's just say it was successful work. So I'm not, I'm not crapping anyone's program or whatever, but let's just say that's something that happened, right? That's just something that happened. But you're still empty at home.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a different woman in your bed every night, but you're still empty. You're still lonely. So it's like, dang, I thought making all this money was going to work. It's just not the only thing, right? There's other parts of your life where success looks different. Success in your marriage is going to look like you can have a good conversation with your wife, like you're happy with her, like you love her, like she's able to listen to you and hear you out and give you an emotionally safe space. If you have that type of relationship, that's success. If your kids love to be around you, want to talk to you, they want to engage with you, and not just when they're kids, but even when they're teenagers, when they become adults, they actually want to have conversations and they actually go to you for advice, that's success. If you have people in your life that love you and care about you and that you can be vulnerable to, friends and family, things like that, that's success. So it's not just about, I got to cash out everybody in my life, or I got to be Superman, because that's another aspect of it as well, of being a provider. So we're talking about money, but then we also say, oh, I got to show up for everybody. I can't do anything for myself. I got to make sure I show up for everybody, sacrifice myself, put myself on the back burner all the time. And if I do that, I'm successful. But yet you're still empty and alone. And when it's all said and done, that's not success. Success is being able to say no, being able to say no and be comfortable with that. That's also a version of success. So I say all this to say we really have to, what's the word I'm looking for, Gordon? We have to
Evaluating.
define what success is. We have to start looking at it from a more broad approach, Gordon, like what you were saying, because if you only look at it one dimensionally, and this is any one of those dimensions, because if you say, oh, I'm just a great father, right? But you're a terrible provider when it comes to making money. You're a terrible husband. You're a terrible friend, but I'm a great father. That's not complete. That's not the 11th man. We should be complete in all of our ways.
Yep.
We need to make sure we're defining success properly in every area of our life and striving towards it. So not just identifying it, but striving towards what success looks like. Success in my marriage looks like I can connect with my wife, on every level, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, right? So how can I do that? I want to be the best father. How can I do that? I want to have a successful business. How can I do that? I want to be a strong member of my community. How do I do that? Right? So we need to be able to not just define success in one area. We need to define it in all areas and then put a plan of action together of how we can actually make that happen in each one of those areas.
No, absolutely, you're absolutely correct. What's up, Big Ben? What's up, Malusas? I mean, yeah, I got some Malusas out here from back in the day. We're talking about how it is to be a good usu, how to be a good man, how to be a good father, how to be a provider, how to be emotional intelligent for your kids. Even like for Big Ben right here, you mean where he's taking care of his granddaughter. We love to see that stuff because even though you say, Doc, I'll tell you straight, some like the people be like, yeah, we be all in prison. And they ask you, are you a good father? And all of us say, of course we're good dads, but we all in prison. What? Right? You mean, yeah, we good dad, we provide, we did it, but you wasn't present, right?
Yeah.
You wasn't present for the people that meant a lot in your life because those are the ones who put money on your books when you had to. Those are the people that you said that you're going to buy everything for them, but you left them hanging because you put it in their arm's way. So a lot of the times when you see, I mean, I've been, like I said, I'm not the most perfect person, but I'm the most imperfect person to show all this. And a lot of respect goes to a lot of people that might be going through this struggle.
Yeah.
You cannot have everything transactional in your life. I thought that money could buy me success.
Yeah.
Being transactional. But money didn't exactly, right? The grand because of the bigger change. Because a lot of the times, the transactional part doesn't have a fulfilling purpose of what you got in your heart because of the trauma and what you've been taught. Because a lot of the times, you might be figuring out that success is measured in different ways. Don't get it wrong. You need to have some money. You need to have finances, but it's not everything. Especially like with us being in the hospital. You start redefining what is success as a man.
Yeah.
You can be like, I'll give his term. With him, Boys Rock, my other boys, the real Usos that was in Compton, that movie? These was the real guys. And 3 weeks ago, I was just with all the big homies from all the Brio Chop guys, right? Because that was our clip. But we started reevaluating. This is what's important. The family, the Aina, the Aiga, everything else that you got going on is detrimental for you to be purposeful in your situation. But when I see these younger guys trying to chase the alpha male and all this stuff, this is why I know what phase of life they're in because it hasn't figured it out.
Yeah.
Now, you might be a CEO, you might be somebody that's ahead of the sales team, killing at work, but then you go home and you're empty.
Yeah.
Who's the success now?
Yeah.
Gary Vee talks about it. He has multi-million-dollar companies and all this good stuff, but he has people that make $50,000 and are happier than shit with 2 vacations a year, and he wants that.
Yeah.
Right? It's amazing to me. So how do you redefine success as a man, Doc, in today's society?
Well,
Show us how. Show me the path.
Well, the first step is you have to renounce what the social construct of what it is to be a man. You have to renounce that. And don't get scared. Don't be like, oh, well, now I'm going to be weak or I'm going to be soft or, anything like that. No, if anything, the societal standard of what it is to be a man is what's destroying us right now, right? It's killing us right now. So we have to renounce that. And that is the whole alpha male mentality, feel, don't open up, don't communicate, soldier forward, all those things, all that negativity, all that stuff. You just got to make sure you make money for your family. You want to take all that and you want to throw it out the window, first and foremost, right? Then after you do that, identify what are the most important things in your life. Your job as a man is your job is not to be Superman. Your job as a man is not to be Superman. Your job is not to save the world. You can't be everywhere all at the same time. As a man, you need to identify what are the most important things in my life. The most important things I cannot do without. Identify what those things are. Because before you can do anything about even identifying what success is, right? Because success ultimately is achieving the goal. You're creating some type of result. But if you don't know what's the most important thing in your life, you're not going to be able to set a goal. If you can't set a goal, you're not going to be able to reach it. And then you will never be successful. And that's why you end up empty all the time. That's why, jumping from bed to bed isn't working for you. That's why you're killing yourself at work. When you come home, you don't get any respect. You don't get any value or anything like that. Because you haven't identified what the most important thing is. And you might say, oh, yeah, my wife's the most important, my family's the most important. But how can it be the most important, but you don't spend no time with them? How can it be most important when you're pouring into your wife? How can it be most important when you're not pouring into your children? Yeah, and then we could use the scapegoat like, oh, well, because I'm out here making money. Oh, well, because I'm just making them, I got to make more money because, and here's another trap we'll be falling to as well. I got to do better than my father did. But we only do it in one dimension.
Yeah.
Well, my father, he walked out at us, so I'm not walking out. Well, that's great. That's not even like the floor. That's not even like the bare minimum. That's just standard. That's like saying, I'm going to build a house and this time I'm going to have walls. That's standard. I'm going to have a foundation. That's standard. You're not doing anything above and beyond. That's not anything extra. That's just supposed to be. Your father was just at a massive deficit. So unfortunately, a lot of us as men will think that we're doing so much more and so much greater and better because we're just not as much of a deficit as our father was. The fact of the matter is, we should be looking back and saying, okay, what are all the ways he messed up? What are all the things that I needed more of? Okay, how did he prioritize my mother? How did he prioritize us as kids? How did he prioritize the finances? And if you have no idea, if it just looked like he was just doing everything just like, it was just like, well, everything was in disarray, well, then you need to scrap that whole plan and you think, okay, what's the optimal way? Oh, how can I be the absolute best husband? How can I be the absolute best father? How can I be the absolute best businessman? How can I be the absolute best person in my community? Asking yourself that question, that's that next step. And then once you answer that question or what that looks like, okay, well, a great husband does X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. A great father does this. A great business owner does this. A great community member does this. And then once you have that, boom, goal from those important things. And then you start living it out, right? Because eventually, here's the key part. It's not about getting to the end point. It's about the destination. You continuously become the best father. You continuously become the best husband. You continuously become a successful business person, right? Like you continuously operate in those goals and you will end up being fulfilled as a result. And now because you identified what the most important things are, now you set a goal, you start moving towards it, you start getting success. Every time your kid comes up to you and gives you a hug and says, I love you, you're the best dad in the world, that's success. Every time your wife says that was a phenomenal conversation, and then you guys are able to be intimate and things like that, that's success. Anytime your employees come to you and say, hey man, you look out for us. We really appreciate what you're doing. That's success. When your customers, the people you're serving, come and say, hey, we really appreciate you. Hey, good looking out for us. That's success. But that doesn't stop. It's not like you got that. It's like, okay, I'm good and done now. No, you continuously live it out. So success is not a one-time thing. It's a journey. It's a lifelong journey. So that's how you can end up feeling fulfilled in every area of your life. You can love being home. You can love being your wife, love being with your kids, love being at work. His greatest struggle was, man, I got to pull myself away from what I love because I love everything. I love being at work. I love being at home. I love being with my wife, my son. I love it all. So my biggest struggle, and that's what we want all of us, the men that are paying attention and watching this, right? That's what we want for you. We want your biggest struggle not to be, I'm not worth anything, or I'm not providing, or I'm not really a man. We want your biggest struggle to be like, man, I feel so fulfilled in so many areas, man. I don't want to put myself away from any of them. We want that to be your biggest struggle. So as far as how to do it, Gordon, that's how you would do it.
Oh, absolutely. We got a Coach Woodson here that does things in the community. Thank you for all you do there, Coach Woodson. And then even my own story is like, you put God, family first. Like me and Doc, if you want personal coaching, reach out to both of us. You get the tag team. But redefining success, guys, like Doc said, you look at your old beliefs that happened to your grandfather's time that's been passed on. Okay, like Doc said, you can have money, you can have everything, but they were broken because everything that they did, it's not like your nearest neighbor is 10 miles away over the mountain where you have to protect, provide, and all this other good stuff. You live in a cul-de-sac right now with the houses that's this close together. The biggest thing, the biggest flex you can do is not show how many cars you have, how much money you make. You want security. You want your kids kissing your face. You want your kids being attention. You like Doctor. You want your wife saying, thanks for everything that you do. I know it's hard, right? Even when she's doing the most. Everything doesn't have to be a transaction because if you're in a phase in life, because I went through it, a lot of men go through this where they find purpose, they want to look validation, they want to have concubines because they want to procreate, because they're all looking for something that they haven't found in themselves yet. That's the whole thing, yet. Now, once you find that, the biggest compliments you're going to get, in fact, I just got one just today where my two neighbors said, man, I just love watching your kids run around and be boys. They fall down, bounce up, crash their bike, crash their scooter, yell up and down the street, do all the good stuff that kids are supposed to do the ding-dong ditch stuff. They're happy kids. Because a lot of people, I try to take them off their iPads because they have too much going on, right? But at the same time, when you redefine yourself and what your masculinity purpose is, moves up your emotional intelligence and you can be confident about. That's when you know you become the best masculine self of you that you can be. Because even like when I was telling Doc, say the situation comes where I have to protect my family. I know what's the outcome of it. It's not like I've done it before with what I've been doing for the purposes of doing things. I know what's the outcome. Some people just want to floss and just talk about it. It's like when you realize the understanding of that, what's important, God, purpose, life, your sanity, things change a lot.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's so important for you to define what success actually means and what it actually is. Because like one of the statements you made, like people, you want to flex about your cars and you want to flex on your house and things like that. And I mean, long and short, nobody cares. Literally nobody cares. No one's looking at you like, oh man, you're just so phenomenal. Because the people in your circle that, at the most, it'll be like, okay, he has a sign of wealth. Just talking speaking about wealth right now. He has a sign of wealth. Okay, I can rock with him, right? As far as that's concerned. But no one's going to add any value to you. And anyone else like, oh my gosh, you have this great car. Oh man, it's so great. It's great. And that's where it stops. So if you're looking for that outside validation, because that's another thing, right? When it comes to defining success, unfortunately, a lot of men are trying to get validation from their success. You cannot and will not get validation from your success. And that's why those of you who are so successful in your job, in your community, and not even about money, just like maybe you're well known, you're still empty at the end of it. You have the highest degrees, you're still empty at the end of it. You're looking for, well, these goals, these things, these measures, this provision is supposed to validate me and say that I'm worth it. So this is taking it even deeper, guys. You will not be validated by your success. Being the greatest husband, being the greatest father, being the greatest businessman, being the greatest community member, whatever it is, it will not work to validate you. So it's critical for you to understand that as you set these goals and you strive to be the best husband, the best father, the best man you could possibly be, that is not where your validation is going to come from. We call those covert contracts. If I do enough for everybody, if I sacrifice enough for everybody, if I sacrifice enough for my wife, sacrifice enough for my children, sacrifice enough for my company and for everybody, if I just give enough of myself away, then maybe finally I'll be worthy of love and acceptance. It will
Never come.
Ever. So
Never.
please,
Never.
gentlemen, please do not take what we're saying here and be like, okay, got it. Now I can finally be validated. No, that's not what it is. That's not what this is. And I'm not going to go all the way off into validation. We have all videos about that. We talked all about that in previous videos.
I'll put the link up. Yeah.
But ultimately, when we're talking about success, success is not about validation. Success is about being the best and highest version of yourself possible in every area of your life, so you can finally have love, joy, peace, and feel like you're actually adding value into the world. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of times it all comes down to when you define yourself as a certain type of individual because what you're seeing on YouTube, what your dad, your grandfather might have said, and everything else, it doesn't make you better or worse, right? Until you find your own self worth to what's important to you. And what's important to you, like we talk about confidence on this channel, we talk about business stuff, we talk about a lot of different things. But one thing is you also have to be confident in your actions. You cannot be wishy-washy in business and everything. If you also take away people's itemized things, right? What do they have after? Do they still have the same recognition? Do they still have the same respect? Do they still command it with or without their materialistic things? What happens when the money's gone? What happens when that is completely gone? Do you still have the respect? I can say I still have the same respect from people in prison, out of prison, in business, out of business, from the community, outside the community, because I've been authentic all the time. Regardless, did the things I said I was going to do for people with or without transaction.
Yeah.
And this is why I can't have too much money because I give it away. But that makes a whole lot of sense because when you redefine, my idea of being a successful man used to be a different thing. So when you look at the phases, if you go back in your phases of life, what you've been through, how you came over it, if you're still stuck in that mentality, that same mindset, you will never grow, right? Now, if you look at your phase in life that you've conquered a lot of this turmoil and you're confident and you can have the boundaries that you have by just saying no, like Doc said, things can change for you because now the process that you've accumulated in your lifetime is your experience and goal to share with other people in the community, right? Because this is what you're going to pass on with a legacy for your kids. This is what part of this video, me making this video, because, I had a Doc, you hit it a couple weeks ago. It's like, what happens when something happens? What kind of legacy are you going to leave your kids, your grandkids? Doc's grandkids, one day can say, what did Grandpa Keith do? Show these videos, helping out men, helping out individuals.
Yeah.
Did I leave a legacy in my kids and instill values that they can have moving forward for the next generation?
Yes, it will.
If there's an individual that could be, in fact, is there a story or a situation that you came across recently that a professional was looking for help but didn't get it in time?
Or maybe I would think like the wife has left them,
Yeah.
or maybe their business, went belly up or something along those lines. To be honest, I don't think I haven't come across any stories like that. I'm very thankful and blessed, and my clients are
Personally.
very thankful and blessed that I did
Okay.
reach out to help before it got to that
Okay.
point.
That's what I'm talking about. You prevented it
Yes.
versus if they let go.
And for any man who's just starting out, I'm gonna let you know that right now, that's actually a big part of being the 11th man. The 11th man knows when, hey, it's gotten too far. It's too much.
Right.
We need help. I can't do it by myself. I can't do it alone. And I'm willing to seek out and get help. I really want to stress that, guys. If you've got to that point where you said, it's just too much, I need help, that is one of the highest and strongest traits of being a real man.
A real man. Yep.
A real man says, I can't do it by myself. I need to get help. And so I'm very, very blessed to work with the men that I work with because they've all come to that point and they didn't let stigma, oh, it's mental health or anything like that. They didn't let anything like that stop them. They said, I need help. My wife is too valuable. My kids are too valuable. My business is too valuable. My life is too valuable for me. I need help. And so I just encourage and implore anyone listening to this, either now or in the future, that if you are in that spot, and if you need help, that is one of the strongest traits of being a man. Reach out to us at Boundaries and Brotherhood so you can get the help that you're looking for. So you don't have to lose. So you can redefine success. So you can show up, be that man you need to be in your family, with your kids, with your wife, with your friends, in the community, at your job, or the business you own. So you can show up, be the man you're supposed to be. So I would say, Gordon, yeah, I haven't encountered anyone who said it was too late. And I will say this, sometimes in our mind, we think it's too late. Sometimes I
No,
have encountered
great.
men where they think it's like, I've gone too far, I've done too much, I've hurt too many people, whatever the case may be. But I'm like, it's not too late because you're alive, they're alive, you can still make it right. You can still turn around, you can right the ship. You can make your relationship better. You can make the relationship with your children better. You can still do something. So also don't believe the lie that it's too late.
It's
Don't
never.
believe that lie. You can turn it around. You can make things better. Maybe you can't get time back, but you can still change the situation for the better. So
I
I would
mean,
say to that, Gordon, yeah.
I'll jump on down because I'll give you a perfect metaphor analogy of pain, right? So 3 weeks ago, when me and Doc was at a Real Talk program, the things that we help other with kids in the community, my appendix ruptured. So I sat there, but I didn't know what was going on. But it's the same like if you're going through not physical pain, but emotional pain, right? Long story short, the next day, I had to put my ego aside and go drive myself to the emergency room. If you're going through emotional situations and you don't think the time is enough, drive yourself, get the help that you need. Put that ego aside because what if I didn't go to the emergency room? Where I said, I'm just going to sleep it off. If you sleep off your wife, your kids, what's important in your life, and you think time can heal, it can heal if you take the right action with the right people, the right accountability, and to admit to yourself that you can get this done. I told Doc, I'm shooting 50-50 with my past life with my two baby mamas, right?
Mhm.
One forgive me, one we're best friends, one I didn't. But I tried to reach out and I put my ego aside to figure out that this is what has to be done because the amount of remaining time that you have on this earth is going to be allowed to redemption.
Yeah.
You could be that asshole you was before and just say what you do and get shot down below. Or you can say, this is what I did to make it a world a better place and for the people I touched. Which one do you want to be? But all the bad things, our life right now is all about redemption and helping other people. A real OG is going to give you the guidance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A fake OG is going to keep bringing you into the game to use you.
Yeah.
We're not trying to use you. We're trying to give you the riz, the game, so that you can become better as men. Understand there's more. You have more to give the world than you think you have.
That's right.
And the thing is, you just need a little encouragement, a little push to know that somebody like myself or Doc have been in your situation.
Yeah.
How does the fact that, fostering equality and mutual respect in any relationship help you as a person, as a man?
How does
How
fostering
does fostering equality and mutual respect in a modern relationship in today's time?
Oh, okay. All right.
He said, okay, watch out now. He's going to go off.
Yeah. So I would say honestly, it can help you immensely, but you have to look at the definition of what equality means to you, right? So we're talking about being successful in your relationship and mutual respect. You have to understand what those things mean. I know Ben Shapiro says like words have meaning, and they do, but unfortunately, you throw them around so haphazardly. We think equality means we should be doing the same thing for each other at the same level with the same level of intensity. And if you're not meeting up to it. We think respect is whatever we mean it to mean, and everyone else should understand that without me saying a word. So first, you really have to understand and look at your relationship, and not just, intimate relationship, but really any relationship. What does equality mean here? Maybe it means I do my part and you do your part. And if they're different parts, like, so for instance, traditionally, I don't want to say traditionally because this is really just since like the 40s and 50s or whatever, but you have like the whole, well, the man goes and works, makes the money, the woman stays at home, right? And she takes care of the house, right? So if both of you are fulfilling your jobs, then it's equal. But what happens a lot of times is like, well, I'm out there working 12-hour days and you're just at home. So it's not equal. You got to do more. Well, but if we agree, this is what we agreed to. So she's cooking and cleaning and handling the bills and all that stuff like that or whatever. then it is equal. So long story short, you have to define what equal means to you. And the second thing is you got to define what respect is. And you have to share that with your whoever you're talking to, right? Because respect might be, oh, they're so, you hear it all the time. They've been so disrespectful. They were so disrespectful. See how disrespectful they are? Okay, what did they do? They didn't hold the door for me and they saw me coming.
Hey, wait a minute.
They don't know.
I
They
don't know you.
disrespected you because of that. They don't even know you. So what happens is we don't define what respect is. And a lot of us, if you ask someone out the gate, they'll respond with the same thing. What does respect mean to you? It means being respectful, doing right by me and things like that. So until we understand what respect means to us and can convey that, until we actually can sit down and say, this is what equality means in this relationship, right? This is what I'm responsible for. This is what you're responsible for. Until we can have that definition, then it's going to be really difficult, honestly, in modern times. At the very least, back then, and again, the 40s and the 50s, not all the time, but in the 40s and 50s, and I guess up until now, when we started adopting this whole traditional household, man works, woman stays at home, which historically it hasn't actually been that way. It's a really recent thing, but we'll just run with that for right now. At least they knew their roles. They knew what they were supposed to do. I have a client and his family set up that way. He goes out there, busts his tail, works 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-hour days. And he said, I'm not doing a single chore when I come home. I'll take out the trash and I'll walk the dog. I ain't doing a thing else. And his wife was like, cool, I'm going to take care of everything else. That's equality. That is equality right there. And you can't try to go and try to value, well, you're just staying at home and doing this. You can't do that. This is what we agreed to. This is equality. Plain and simple. So I would say really defining what respect and equality means to you and what it looks like in your relationships. That's the first step. That's how you start making that progress forward and as being a modern man. And it's going to be huge as far as achieving success. Because again, you got to understand the domains of the success. You know, you have the goal, and what does it mean to achieve that goal? What does it mean to strive towards that goal? Right? So that's what I would say it means in today's terms.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. 100% on everything that you said, because when you look at the situations, roles have changed. Things have changed. And one, I'm living it right now for that same exact situation. It's not too that drastic, but it works for them. And even in the conversation, it's a good thing, me and my wife, because even what's happening in Las Vegas with MGM going down and everything, there's no way I would be making the 100-something thousand I did a year before with how is it going here? So roles has flipped, but the equality, but we still have mutual respect for everything else going on in the household. A lot of the times you have to have the humbleness, the humility to actually put that ego aside, which is a big thing. What's important to you is what matters, because nobody knows what's happening behind closed doors.
Yeah.
They don't pay your bills. They don't know what's happening in your bedroom. You don't know what kind of stuff goes on. We just had a situation where one of our friends, the kids just came down with cancer. Like, how do you deal with that? You know what I mean? Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, how? I feel for them. Like, we'll do whatever you can.
Yeah.
But now let's go end it with, if you're a professional, a high level employee, if you're a man, if you're going through these situations, if you don't know how to deal with your anxiety, you're depressed, you're on the verge of divorce, you need some coaching, right? If you were looking for, you're stuck in an echo chamber where you're not being heard, please reach out. Go to Boundaries and Brotherhood on YouTube. Find the playlist. We want to be able to help you, guide you, encourage you so that you can become the better person in today's society than you was just yesterday.
Yeah.
You can DM us. You can reach out to us. We even have a Reddit platform now, a school community. We're going to have courses. We have pages. We have things for you, give you free. Scan the code behind Doc right now. If you need some help, if you need some actionable steps, DM me. Look at some of the every day I put faces videos to encourage you in the morning. 7:30 and 9:30 is when me, Doc's clips comes out 9:30, 7:30 and 1:30 is my AI motivational clip for you to kind of listen to so you can get through your day. Go on YouTube, Boundaries and Brotherhood. Click, comment, share, because we just want to help you in the situation that you're in now. Doc.
Yes.
Please if they can reach out, end the show, please.
Yes. So guys, we're here to help you guys become the 11th man. And when it comes to success, you got to redefine it. And I wouldn't even go out and say, I'm not trying to be too deep, but like, just define it. You don't take the world standard. Define it for yourself. Define it for your family. Define it for your children, for your wife. You define what success is for your business, right? Because ultimately, you have to live with yourself. You have to sit down at night and say, did I do what I set out to do? Did I accomplish? Was I the best version of myself today? Did I really give it my all? You have to do that. Did I really give my all today? Did I really pour into my marriage? Did I really pour into my kids? Did I really pour into my clients? Did I pour into the world and the community? Am I adding value? Because if I'm adding value, to me, that's success. If I've said something or done something that's improved your life, to me, that's success. And I continue to do so. I continue to produce. So you need to ask yourself that question, right? What is success to me? Define it for yourself. Define it, set the goal, and now spend the rest of your life striving for that goal and being successful in every domain so you can finally be fulfilled and not be stuck in that trap like, well, I just make money or I don't make enough money. The money doesn't really matter ultimately. No. So again, I say not to make money, but I am saying that it's not the whole thing. It's not everything. So you can have fulfillment. And here's the thing, no matter what job you have, no matter what position you're in life, you can turn it around. You can make things better. You can have the life you're looking for. You can always become the 11th man. It's not too late for you.
We'll end it right there. I'm Gordon Watt from Boundaries and Brotherhood.
All right.
Aloha.
Guys.
Hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we do making them. If you're looking for a free way to get help, please subscribe and follow for more. Want more details? Head on over to findout.boundariesandbrotherhood.com.